An article by Dr. Haunowski. Since when is something not true because it is not needed? Since when do you use such a phrase when dealing with the question of whether something is or is not? Is the woman who was Sister Lucy of Fatima pre-1967 the same woman as the one who appeared with Paul VI and John Paul II, and on many other occasions until 2005? Philosophically speaking, does Sister Lucy I and Sister Lucy II have the same active existence? If they did have the same active existence, they would not have had two distinctly different bodies that can be identified as such by an 8-year-old. The discussion of the wackadoodle theory of the two Sister Lucys begins at the 28 minutes mark and goes to about the 30-minute mark. During this 2-minute dismissive segment, Marshall and Gordon use the odd words "not needed" when discussing the now scientifically verified fact that Sister Lucy I and Sister Lucy II are not the same person. Of course, the interesting point in these few minutes is the comment that Gordon makes concerning the report of how upset Sister Lucy was when she heard about the election of John XXIII. She wanted, suddenly, to get on the radio to proclaim the third secret to the world because she obviously knew that the secret would never be released if it was up to Angelo Roncalli. The word of such enthusiasm, a favorite derogatory expression of Immanuel Kant, used for anyone who thought metaphysically about the ultimate nature of things, must have gotten back to Roncalli, and he acted immediately. It seems, historically, and evidentially, very likely. This aside, what does it mean when our friends Marshall and Gordon say that the question of is, or is not, comes down to needed, or not needed? Needed for what? Have they looked at the pictures, the videos, the interviews, the handwriting samples? Anything. It is not needed, if your sole purpose is to ride the temporary wave of allowable smartass comments, concerning the hierarchy of the Catholic Church, in which you attempt to critique and whine about their doctrinal and moral stances, while at the same time legitimizing everything they do by indicating how all of the grand actions of the Novus Ordo hierarchs are valid and legitimate, even if subject to abuse. The Novus Ordo Missae, the Vatican II Council, the modernists' sacraments and their pro-family teachings, are all legitimate, but subject to abuse, not by our people but by the liberals. In order for us to continue to hobnob with the smart set of those who don't, wink wink, but to accept the modernist revolution in the church, we don't need to think about the question of is, or is not. We can speak endlessly of deviations, or abuses, and, thereby, continue to participate in the conciliar shuffleboard game between conservatives, i.e., Opus Dei, and liberals, not wackadoodles of course, but those who abuse their legitimate office of authority and jurisdiction. Friends, reality, the cold, is or is not, will cleanse us from all of the lies and all of our confusion and all of our diabolical disorientation. One of the greatest crimes in the history of the Catholic Church, and people like this want to ignore all the forensic reports and mock those who are trying to expose it. Why? Look at the reports at Sister Lucy Truth and then ask these people how they can just ignore them. Not only these two, but Chris Ferrara, the Remnant, the Fatima Center. Where does the Blessed Mother fit into all this? It is her messenger, Lucia dos Santos, who disappeared and was replaced by those who were part of the Vatican hierarchy. Some of these people are still alive and must be put on trial and exposed. Go to Sister Lucy Truth to read the forensic reports and find out where we are in the investigation.